There was a guy on my job site in Iraq that I only saw twice a day. They was doing breakfast and lunch. That's it. That was his whole day as far as I could tell. And I'm out here in the heat, 18 months as a labor foreman, busting my tail. And this dude rolls through, eats, and then he's gone. So I finally asked my coworker, who is that guy? He said, that's the safety guy. I said, the what? The safety guy. That guy was making more money than almost anybody on that site. And I had never heard of that job in my life. Now, I got to be honest with you up front. Safety is not like that. You work, and you work very hard. Anyways, that guy planted something in my head, and it took me 6 years to do anything about it. 6 years later, I'm 32 years old, sitting in a parking garage at the University of Houston, and I don't have $4. Yeah, $4. I will tell you that story later. 18 months after that, I'm cashing checks for 84 hours a week. I told this little story once before on this channel. I freestyled it, no script, just talking. And I left out the part that actually matters. Everybody hears the broke part and thinks the lesson is don't give up. Nah, the lesson is what I did while I was broke. I came to Houston and I forgot about it. Straight up like that. Life happened. I got into hotshot driving for 6 years. Yeah. 6 years of making money and not going anywhere. And then one day it hit me. I've been wanting to do this for 6 years. I never once looked it up. So I got into the University of Houston website, found a degree, which was safety management. I looked up what they make and I said, man, if they make this, I can do this. Now, here's where I did the one thing I tell anybody watching this to copy. I enrolled. I already had 60 credit hours from before, so I'm looking at about 18 months of school. Anyways, but I looked around at the safety guys coming out of college and I noticed something. They graduate, they walk out on the job site, and they don't know a damn thing. They can't read a scaffold. They can tell you what the crew is actually doing, and the workers know that in about 10 minutes from watching you watch them. So I said, I'm not walking out there like that. I went and got a job as an electrician helper while I was in school. Not for the money, because the money was way worse than I was making before. I did it for the exposure. 18 months as a helper, learning the craft, learning how the work actually gets done. And here's what bought me. I ended up around the commissioning team, guys building the substations in the refineries. And one day, some guy walks up to me and asks, hey man, what do you do here? I said, I'm a helper. I'm about to graduate with a bachelor's in safety management. He said, okay, man, that's nice. 2 weeks later, the same guy comes back and says, I want you in the pre-commissioning team. I was like, damn, me? That's a green hand? He goes, don't touch anything inside the substation. Just learn. Put the Exxon on safety guys, pick their brains, and just learn. Don't touch anything. When that man walked up to me and asked me what I did, I had no idea who he was. To me, he was just some guy on the site. Turned out he was the pre-commissioning coordinator, the guy who builds the teams. Just remember that every conversation in construction is an interview. You just don't know it at the time. I got paid to stand next to the people I wanted to become. That doesn't happen if I'm just a college dude with the transcripts. I'm not going to tell you the highlight reel. 58 hours a week. I was up at 3 in the morning, then driving 30 minutes to U of H after work to sit in class. And I had to quit hotshot to do it, which means I was broke. When I tell you I was broke, I was broke. I'm going to show you a clip of the old video that explains everything about the parking lot and the $4. When I tell you I was broke, I was broke. No money. I remember the one time that I had to take a test, a midterm test, and I went to the parking lot and I didn't have no money for parking, man. And this is me as a grown man, 32 years old. And I didn't have no money. It was either park and take the midterm or leave, So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to park because if they put a booth in my car, that's $150 that I don't have. If I don't have $4 to park, imagine $150. So anyway, I did that, and I didn't take the test. Man, that day I cried. I was like, damn, Andy. Anyways, I missed the midterm, sat in the car. I remember telling myself, a year from now, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. I didn't actually believe it that day, but I said it just to make me feel better. I graduated and spent 7 months looking for a job. I applied over 200 jobs. I stopped counting after 200. The first real offer came from a company out of New York working in Houston. They offered me $30,000 an hour, truck, and a 401k. I'll be honest with you, it was a little let down for me. I thought safety guys made more money than that, but I took the mindset of get your foot in the door. Then my cousin calls me one day. He goes, hey, Ann, did you graduate yet? I say, yeah. He goes, you want to come to the Virgin Islands to do hurricane restoration? I'll pay you $40 an hour, $125 a day per diem. I'll give you a vehicle, gas card, and housing paid. I was like, hell yeah. I was working 7/12. My first check I saw was 84 hours, and I couldn't believe it. That's when I knew going back to school paid off. 6 months of that, and I paid off my student loan, $17,000, gone. And that's the part that still gets me. 2 years earlier, I was crying because I couldn't afford a $4 parking spot. So anyways, so the question is, how do you get into safety? There's many ways you can get in. Number one, you come from the field, join the safety committee, get a field construction search, talk to the safety manager and tell them that you got your certs and you want to be part of the safety team. That's one way. Number two, get a degree, get a few certs, get experience in the field, at the construction, and that will help you land your first job faster. There isn't really any path in the safety field. I'm sure that many have done it differently. My road was longer than it had to be, 6 years longer. Yours might not need to be. It could be months. Anyway, I gotta say, my mom pushed me to go back to school. If it wasn't for her, I'm probably still running hot shot. If you have a dream, don't give up. I thought going back to school at 32 was impossible because of my age. I had classmates well over 50 years old. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. If you find this video valuable, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll have more conversations like this to hopefully motivate you to be a better person and be a better craftsman. Anyways, I'm out.